stuff. So yeah, at my day job, I build agents. Right now I'm working for a company. We do agents for financial advice or financial advisory, specifically, and a lot of that has to do with like getting data or fetching information from different APIs and like doing things like tool calling. And so yeah, I'll kind of just walk you through uh, kind of the different ideas or concepts in the tool space, like in the agentic space, and just kind of show you, okay, how can you get started like building these? What is the simplest, quickest way to build these tools? And um, yeah, we can go from there. Uh, yeah, before I get started, are there any questions?
No, I mean, for people who are just have no knowledge of AI.
Yeah,
I mean, so I mean, I don't use any AI.
yeah. So if you don't use any AI, for the people that don't have any knowledge, I'll kind of just go over uh, what is the place for people that don't have use any AI? Like, what's the beginning? Like, where do they start?
Yeah.
And then we'll go over kind of like, uh, the ideas or the concepts that these tools use. And none of it's magic, so it's all like very simple and straightforward. But yeah, I think that's a good place to start if that's kind of the audience. So um, yes, let me start sharing my screen. Share button. Hello. Oh, my voice is very far. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Is this better?
Yeah, it's okay.
Input volume. Okay, wait. How about now? This is better. Okay. Um, yeah. I think okay, everyone can hear me? Okay, yeah, awesome. Yeah, let me start sharing my screen. Desktop one. Let's go here. Um, 1 second. Okay. So for those people that never used like AI before, the best place to start or like kind of just get familiar with using AI is you go to ChatGPT .com. I'm pretty sure a lot of the audience has used ChatGPT. Don't worry, we'll talk more about building AI too. So for those that kind of like have no starting, go to ChatGPT, ask it any question, pretend you're talking to a human. Let's say I want to know how to make I don't know, pancakes, but like with protein, I'll be like, how do I make pancakes with protein? Um, Taste good. And kind of like I can ask it something, but you should really be deliberate about also specifying what am I trying to ask it exactly. So, do I want a recipe? Ask yourself like, what is it that you want? because you can ask a question, but all these questions have many different interpretations. So this is the concept of like communication. And I realize a lot of the time just talking to these agents is you just have to really think, what is it that I'm really asking? How is it that I can communicate better? And most often or not, if you're good at communicating with people, then you'll probably be good at communicating with agents or like the AI. So I'm going to ask it this question, and then it's going to go do all this stuff. And then it's going to now answer my question based off of knowledge that it has learned um, over time by like looking at many different examples of like cooking books, everything. Like it basically learned across the entire internet. Let me make sure I can still see the um, oh, this is interesting. I just want to make sure I can, oh yeah, I can still see the audience. Okay. Yeah. And so like it could answer your questions, and then you'll notice that if I go down here, I can continue the conversation based off whatever was said above. I can continue like talking about it. So I could be like, okay, now give me a breakdown um, of the macro content. It's like so like macro content, like I could specify like what is macro content, i.e. protein, carbs, and I don't know, fats and calories. Um, and you'll notice that like I don't need to like continue, I don't need to tell it again what I already told it. This is the concept of history. Um, and when it's the concept of history, it means that like it just can remember things that you said before. And you'll notice that there was also something called analyzing. What is analyzing? Like it was like running something there called analyzing. Before that, analyzing is just it making a tool call or it making some type of assumption that, hey, I need to calculate something. I have the ability to run a calculator or some tool that can give me values of some like calculation. And in this case, it was probably trying to calculate, I don't know, the calories given these types of ingredients or like given the certain macro factors. So like it probably knew kind of how much there was of how much protein and how much carbs are in a cup of oats, how much protein is in a scoop of protein, and then how much fats and proteins are in eggs. So then it would like basically add those up. So it had the ability to call a tool that does the calculation. Because the one thing that LLMs or AI is really bad at is math. They're not good at math, which is why they use tools to help them do math, to help them do these calculations. They're not good calculators. Much like people, I think. A lot of people are not that good at math. Yeah, so this is kind of where you would start um, with ChatGPT. And uh, you'll also notice like on the right hand side, I just click like, create a new chat. You can also search your previous chats and so forth. So I'm on like a paid plan. There's a free version. You can use it, the free version. But you'll also notice here, since I'm on a enterprise or a business account, I have something called company knowledge. The company I work for is called Focal, so I can like do this search company's knowledge um, base. So this is like kind of I can give access to ChatGPT to get access across all my applications. So let's say I use I don't know, Google Drive for like my documents, and I use if you're in project planning, you would use like in your let's say running a sprint with your team, you would use something called Linear. Is it Linear? So like Linear is an app that helps us track like all of our tickets and such. So we would use that. And now like to search company knowledge means like the tools that I was talking about, we can give access to ChatGPT to go and call a tool that could then get information from these other apps or services that I use. So I click here, the company knowledge, I can kind of see, hey, okay, what integrations does it have access to? So this is kind of like the easiest way to like make to use AI with tool calling is just use ChatGPT and add the integrations here. So like I can basically add it linear Slack. Slack is like a messaging platform. Gmail, I can have it like I can connect it to my Gmail. And then here it'll say, hey, do you want to connect this to your Gmail? I'll say like continue. And then I'll click like my email. And then yeah, let's see if this works. I think it would. Yeah, so now it's connected to my Gmail too. So now I could ask it, now that it's connected to my Gmail, I could ask it, I don't know, do I have any upcoming meetings in my Gmail? Or I'll just tell it to search my Gmail, search in my search my Gmail. Okay. You don't always have to say use this tool or not. It's just I can give it access to tools. I can get access to multiple tools at once. And this is another thing. You can do multiple tool calls at once. So that's pretty cool. So I could tell it to like do one thing, look at my email, and then make a ticket to prepare for the meeting next week in my project management board, like dashboard, which is linear. So it can create a ticket or an issue for me to start doing stuff. And you can kind of think of this as like a way of talking to a assistant. Like you would ask your assistant, if I had like a note taker or like some executive assistant in my office, I would ask them, do I have any upcoming meetings? Um, what is things next week that I have to prepare for? What do I have to finish by tomorrow? And they'll give me kind of like all those stuff. So I could just ask it this question. Let's see if it works. Yes, it says, yeah, searching internal apps. And you can see on the side the things that it's doing. And so it's looking and saying, hey, okay, like there's all this stuff happening. It's like literally searching my emails. So now when you see this pop up, you know that it's actually searching your emails. And for those that want to do coding, don't worry, we're gonna do that too. Like this is just a prelude. Uh, Takes a long time. This is interesting because there's like a lot of information in the email. So yes. But it's the reason it takes a long time is because it's making many different tool calls. So yeah, and then now it gave me the upcoming meetings. Uh, yeah, so team activity. Yeah, so I have like some meetings coming up next week, and oh look, there's a gift exchange, and I could tell it, add something to my. I don't think I have calendar here, but I can connect more apps here. Yeah, I can connect my calendar here as well, and then I could tell it, add stuff to my calendar, uh, to make that like happen, like add stuff to my calendar, by adding it there. So it connects to like a bunch of these apps, and I think for a lot of people that are doing either sales, CRMs, and like if you're working in like the marketing sector, you probably want to connect with HubSpot. They're a CRM, customer relationship manager tool. No one ever says what CRM means, but I think it's important. And then for those that code, I just connect it to GitHub. So my current workflow is I use this a lot to basically take everything in Slack and say, okay, what are the things we have to do? In a meeting, I'll be drafting like the notes. And so it's funny, I'll be taking notes in an actual meeting, although we are a note-taking company. So like, or I'll take the notes from our note-taking tool and I'll just like paste it in here. So we could take the entire transcript. You could take this entire transcript of this conversation, paste it here, and tell it to, make me some new tickets or make me some new tasks for me to finish this week. But yeah, there's a lot of apps that you can do. But yeah, that gives you an idea of tool calls and kind of how to use AI for like very early beginners. Before I continue and transition over to the coding side, are there any questions on this? Okay.
Hi.
Wait. Oh, sorry. Now I see And now I see people. Okay, for some reason. Okay, uh, Shanaz. Yes,
Yes, yes. Hi, thank you for starting with ChatGPT. I think that would be a best place to start with. I had a question. So you're adding the sources. So I could see like generally we could add Gmail and things, but I could also see Slack related in your ChatGPT. Is it because you have a company knowledge over there, or is it common for everybody that we can connect more tools
that's a
over
good question. I think that's a very good question. To be honest, I'm not too sure. Like company knowledge, there's many things with company knowledge, but I'm pretty sure you can connect like if you pay for the pro account, you could probably connect across all of these. Company knowledge just means it also has access to like company resources. Like there's other stuff like that could be like in the documents or not. So that is a good question because they also have just like I could just say Slack and there's no company knowledge. So the company knowledge is more like it can learn things about your company, or the
there?
company may have custom like resources that it wants to add as a knowledge base. Because I can have a personal integration with Slack or like my Gmail, but there's knowledge about the company that's not privy to like me, or like that's like that may be very specific to how the organization works that we don't want to put across these other platforms. So when you look at company knowledge, think about like just I think of it as just like a book of company content, and then it accumulates knowledge over time. You can either add to it or you can tell it, you can like learn from it. But don't quote me on that, but I think that's kind of how it works. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, connecting to maybe the SharePoint or stuffs like that, any documentation links maybe. So I was curious to know whether the Slack is actually, you said you have connected with your office, so that's where my question came. Thank you so much.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. No, I can just connect to my Slack account, but I mean, this account is bought from my company. That's the only difference. It's company. I don't pay for it, so that's it. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
No. Okay. Um, that is cool. Okay, awesome. Could I get a show of hands before I continue? Like, how many people here are interested in like coding or developing this type of ChatGPT, but in software? I got one,
Honestly, I don't know how to make sense. I
got
don't
two,
use
three.
Zoom at all.
Huh?
I don't use Zoom at all, but I would love to code.
Okay. You don't
I don't
you
know.
don't.
I don't know how to use Zoom, and hence I don't know where the thumbs up is. So
Oh, okay,
I
okay. Yeah,
use Teams.
that's okay. Yeah, I don't really.
Only, yeah, I found it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Good show of hands. Okay. And then how many people like I guess want to continue like the uh, I guess more like usable AI tools like approach. I'm trying to get a read of the room. Okay. Okay.
I don't know how to raise hand. I don't know.
Okay. That's okay. So three people. Okay. Uh, that's a good. There's like three and then like six. Okay. Uh, Saad, how much time do we have left?
Um, we got like like 1.5 hours more.
Okay. We have time. Okay. So
Yeah.
then, um, interesting. Let's see how to do this. So there's ChatGPT. I mean, to be honest, other than ChatGPT, um, there's not a whole lot of other AI tools out there that are easy to get started with. And kind of like I would just recommend using it. You could also talk to it too. Like there's voice mode here. I would use voice mode a lot, and you could talk to it in your own language too. You don't need to talk to it in English. So that's the biggest thing too. You could talk to it in your own language. So I taught my mom how to talk to it, and I regret it, but it works. Uh, but I tell her not to believe everything because sometimes it lies and it doesn't know that it's lying, just like I said. And another thing that's very bad at is having factual information unless it's able to create a citation. So you can see here that these are citations that it created. And so it had an actual idea of the context that was associated by it. Um, but yeah, so like voice mode is really good if you don't like to type and you're better at speaking, just use that. But yeah, other than ChatGPT, there's not a whole lot of tools out there for like using AI. But you will notice that as you use more and more services, like the future is going to be mostly all these services will start able to talk to each other. So just like from Slack, I mean from ChatGPT, I'm able to talk to Slack. It'll be such that like from within Slack, if like I also have an integration between Slack and Linear. And so like they could talk to each other. So it's not going to be like one place is going to have all the integrations. Every app is going to be able to like freely talk to other apps and in a way where you don't have to code the thing. But yeah, I think I'll get started on some of the coding.
I have one question.
Okay.
Um, where like in ChatGPT, you're integrating with Gmail and all those things, right?
Yeah.
Where do you define the permissions of that? So I only want to read my Gmail from using ChatGPT. Where do you do that? Where is the permission thing?
Okay, yeah. So in that case, let me double check. So like to add the tools, it's the same way as over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just click more and then you
Yeah.
click like
But
these.
where do you find the permission?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I think I know where it is. I just want to make sure I'm not
Yeah.
showing any privy information. Right.
So when you connect to Gmail, there's a communication between ChatGPT and Gmail where you agree to share your emails with the app. I mean, ChatGPT.
Yeah, there's also data controls. Like, so the thing I was looking at is like data controls. But
Mm.
you're right. Like you're agreeing to connect everything, but the access to your information could still be secure. Like ChatGPT doesn't have access to it. So like for us, our companies like information, the things I type into ChatGPT cannot be used by ChatGPT for their training. They can't look at it
Yeah,
because
I think that's only for the paid or probably enterprise version. They could use it for training. At least they would ask you your experience, and they'll give you two versions sometimes, and they would be using it for their RLHF or any other training, especially on the human feedback level. They would be
yeah,
taking so.
but for like for our company, like we set it up such that they
Yeah,
can
yeah,
use
enterprise versions they might not.
yeah, enterprise versions they don't train it. So that
So
there's
my question is, do you have something like where you can control?
I don't think you can cherry pick what to be taken and what not to. That's
I'm
what
not
my
asking
feeling
cherry,
is.
Labib, I'm not asking cherry picking. What I'm asking is, if I have a chat GPT and
Hmm.
I integrate with Gmail, I
Okay.
want only chat GPT to read my email, nothing else.
yeah, in this case, um I don't see any actual tools for that because I'll show you kind of like how it
Hmm.
looks like
Hmm.
on their side. So if I go to, where is it? 1 second. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, short answer, I don't think so because where is it? Here.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so
it
you'll
explicitly says connectors may introduce risk. You are in control, but it always asks. So if you click on that, add to anything, I believe now we could see a pop-up. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share the screenshot over chat, but I
yeah.
could see that maybe. If you click
So
on something
here
new,
Hmm.
you could look at the connectors. If I click on the connector, it will tell you what
Okay.
it has access to. So
Hang
it'll
on a second.
say,
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
yeah. And then right now it doesn't do any like in this case
So
it doesn't do any
you don't have a control on that action portion where you can say, okay, check only read email,
I think you can
but
because those are basically aliases to the tool calls that GPT would be making to. So probably you can edit them. I'm not
sorry,
sure.
you
repeat again. Repeat again, sir.
So basically, these are aliases to the function calls that GPT made. So hence, you would probably be able to edit the behavior, at least if you're building it your own.
How
If
do
you're
you
building
edit
a set,
behavior? Where is that?
that's where coding would be handy, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. This is the biggest gap, right? I want to restrict myself only to read email. I don't want someone to change it. So if a bad guy comes in and log in, then he can do
Yeah.
anything
Oh,
basically
there's a
right
lot
here.
of risk associated with it. Honestly, there's a
yes,
lot.
yes, you're right about that. For like, so like, what I would do is if I was you, is look at this tool, and then look for the tools that have the actions of read only. So like right now, the Gmail tool doesn't have the ability to create.
What about okay? Let's talk. Forget about Gmail. What about Slack or what else you use? Do you have that control over there?
Yeah, so if
Do you
I
have
go
any
to
tool? Let's
Slack,
yeah, let's
the
check that.
actions are here. Right now, I think actually that's interesting. I don't think other than I don't yeah, even Slack is only like get and fetch and search. So these are only
Uh,
like read type operations. I don't know if ChatGPT is being
So every time ChatGPT talk to Gmail, right? Does
yeah,
it fetch the information into its memory, or it
it
just
fetches
like, huh?
yeah, it fetches it into the current conversation. The
No,
current
that's where they reserve the memory, right? For that, if you go into detail, you'll
yes.
find that there's a memory thing which is being assigned by. So it takes that into memory, it
Yeah.
processes that, and then it gives you the result. So I'm just
Yeah.
wondering because I'm a security guy, so that's why I was wondering about those things. So
Yeah, so there's a big okay. I'll actually touch on your point one step further. There's a big gap in the market right now of like
mhm.
um going over like there's a read operation which is get information and then there's write operations which is actually change things, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, the biggest thing is right now there's no way to stop
Control it.
somebody from writing, but what people are doing now is they're using a concept called human in the loop. Human in the loop means that for any write operation, they'll
Mhm.
need explicit confirmation from somebody to continue and to say, yes, I have
How do you do that? How do you
that.
do that? How do you do that?
That is in the coding side. So here, if I
So if
look,
you go to
I'll,
GitHub, yeah.
I'll show you. Also, LangGraph, human in the loop. Um, so this is the idea. So you can create like an approval structure. Uh,
Mhm.
we'll be using a different framework for today just to make it simple, but LangGraph is a tool that people use to make these types of agents.
Mhm.
And they have the ability to approve or reject a action. And so what you have to do is you have to kind of tie the like whatever right operation or right action you want to emit, you would tie
Mhm.
it with human in the loop. And on top of that, to prevent actors that are bad from being able to access your agent, these operations would also be guarded by a authentication layer. So if I do auth0 LangGraph,
Mhm.
this is just an example, but you can apply both human in the loop on authorization to your actual agent. So this is kind of the new paradigm, which is like what's going to happen is it's gonna send your credentials and then see what roles. It also has RBAC, so roles-based access control,
Right, right.
to
So OAuth
see,
has a capability.
yeah,
Correct.
what roles and capabilities does this user have. Now you'd have to use a authentication provider like Auth0 or Stitch or
Yeah.
something to
So
see.
basically, what you are saying that ChatGPT and Gmail, when it interacts with, it doesn't use OAuth0, so you don't have a control.
Yeah, it doesn't use OAuth0. It predefines the controls based off what their app
Right,
requires.
right.
It's like
That
downloading
makes
an
sense.
app of
Yeah, yeah. Now it makes sense to me. Okay,
Yeah,
understood.
that makes sense. So they don't like when I integrate an app, I have to right there in that app, when I make that connection, it'll show me the permission. So I kind of it showed me the permissions there. If you have the option to check and check box over there, you could stop it from writing and just reading. So I'll actually quickly just do that before we move on. So I'm gonna actually disconnect this and
Mhm.
I'll reconnect it and you'll see what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
closing
please.
it and saying here, this is what it's showing. Whatever it, but the real page that matters,
Mhm.
this second page, this page here. So here, it says it already has some access, that's okay. Let's see what one service is. I thought I already disconnected it. Yeah, so within here you can see what that's interesting. I thought I disconnected it, but okay.
You only disconnected it on ChatGPT, but Gmail would still will
Yeah,
not know.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. So, but yeah, within here you can see these are the things it's asking for. So it has access to move new emails, to create or change or delete email labels.
Yeah, but it doesn't let you control it, basically, what you can do. So I
They,
got it. Okay.
they could let you control it if they wanted to, but they don't let you.
There's also risk on both sides where ChatGPT would be consuming your spam email, for example, and would be thinking, oh, that's a legitimate email, right? Like, so there's a risk on ChatGPT as well. So we should not neglect that.
Yeah,
So it's not like they're gonna, believe everything in your email. So we have to cherry pick what to be given and what not.
yeah, sure. Yeah, we can move to the agent demo.
Yeah.
Ali,
By the way,
sorry to
before
interrupt. Can we continue with the plan? I mean, it will take more than I don't know how much time to
Yeah,
complete.
let's do your whatever you guys are. Sorry, I distracted you.
No
No
worries.
worries. Thank you.
It's a good question.
before I leave, Mosa, I just wanted to add a couple of platforms. Anthropic, sort of brought the MCP in, and Google has A2A. All of these facilitate multiple tool integrations to ChatGPT and whatnot. So probably we should not neglect those. Anthropic has Claude, and Google has Gemini. Microsoft would
Oh
be
yeah, so
building their own
there's other
Copilot.
tools out there. I'm just saying
No, you
ChatGPT.
mentioned ChatGPT, so I just didn't like Monopoly. I don't like Monopoly at all. So honestly, I wanted to diversify things. There are a few other options.
Yeah, for there's other tools out there. Like there's Gemini, there's Claude. Although for the masses, this is the easiest place to start. And then later, like or Gemini too. Gemini is also pretty simple, and like they actually just added Gemini into Google searches now too. So that's
That's everyone.
yeah. Okay, let me set up my screen. Uh, 1 second. And okay, I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of use this tool here called Agno. Agno is so like there's many different agent frameworks out there. Let me just start with like what is an agent framework? An agent framework is just a packet or a framework such as like a library in your code that can use LLMs in a way where it can do things like tool calls, get access to knowledge bases like memory, like maintain history, maintain conversations with specific like users, and so forth. So like that's kind of what an agentic framework is just a way of like let's simplify this idea of creating an agent into one type of tool or one type of library that can then be able to do all the things I need to do without me building the tools from scratch. So you can see like I'm choosing Agno because it's very simple to like get started with. Although like the professional tool that like I use in my day-to-day, like sure I use this a little bit, but I use more LangGraph because LangGraph does more of the like it has better human in the loop systems and it has better authentication and better uh, support. So there's a lot more resources online with LangGraph. But this one's a pretty simple tool to get started with. And we can see here, like, I'll just kind of go over this and then I'll run the code. But you can see here, like, there's different things, like there's the agent. So like it's very simple to create one with this. What it just does is it runs like a fast API, like server or app, and then you can talk with it in your terminal and interact with it. So here you can give it a name. Every agent has a name, a model, like here, I think, is your name Labib or Ibrahim? Which one you prefer?
Maybe
Labib, okay. Labib was mentioning Claude. So you can also use Claude. And then the database is like where it's going to store its history and its memory and some of the knowledge. And add history to context. This just means let's continue adding to the history to my current message or conversation what I said before. And yeah, and then markdown true. This is actually really cool too because you could just tell it like give me an output of markdown. Although like this is just a prompt thing, like really you could just put it in your instructions, and it'll do such. So yeah, well, let me go to this side here. So this is kind of just a small code snippet of yes, I'm using cursor, I'm cheating. Okay, let's say, yeah, so here it's made a news agent, gave it a name, and the description is kind of like the system prompt almost. There's many different arguments within here. So like there's a system message too, I can give it, which is like the main thing that it does. But for now, I think a description is enough. The system message is like, if you have a lot of things to say, you can say that. I could tell it like, you can do these things. But right now in the description, it still uses the description inside of its creation of its system prompt. So I can tell it, hey, you are a news agent. Your responsibility is to write reports on trending topics. I give it a model to use. So I'm using here OpenAI chat. And then I give it access to tools. So I'm like, okay, how can it find news, right? So I'm like, okay, you have access to the Hacker News tool. So this tool was predefined in the agent, Agno's agent toolkit. So there's other tools in here too. Like they have a bunch of Baidu search, they have Brave search, they have all these different tools. And you could use a lot of them. And DuckDuckGo, like they have a lot of different tools. Like this is
So to run this tool, do you need some sort of a user or username and some sort of a like account to go through those models? Because how this model is going to allow this?
yes, absolutely. So for Hacker News tools, you don't because they have a free like endpoint, a free API endpoint. But
Okay.
for the other tools, yes, for some of the other tools, you will need to define your API keys and your yeah, and your credentials to be able to use the tool. Yeah, in this case. In other cases, like this is a very good question because there's still like that, how do you give access to like a user's account when using a tool? In that case, you'll have to use like the tokens to like pass it in and like maybe like use the user's token. Because when I log into a website, I generate a token and that token that gives me access to things. And so when that user makes an integration with another service, that would generate a token that's now valid for them to be able to connect to your service. So this is what kind of Labib kind of touched on. So like how in systems there's like user to machine authorization. There's also machine to machine authorization. And in this case, like we are kind of doing the user to machine authorization where we're generating the token and the token now lets like the APIs now let us use this token as a new form of authenticating requests. And so things could be specific to per user based off that token. But for now, we'll just use this tool as it is. And I'll kind of just run it and see, can it do the thing that I want it to do? Actually, I'll do it in terminal. Oh, you don't see my, can you see, wait 1 second. I want to make sure you can see my, okay. Can you see, yeah, you can see my screen. Okay, so now, tutorial, this was Agno. Okay, now I'm gonna do, there's a reason I did it here instead. Is because, oh. It's because it does this nice, cool interface thing. Wait, oh, actually, I'm starting an app. I don't want to start the app. I want to, this is this app is like a backend for the front end, but I didn't quite get that working. So I'm just gonna do this news print news agent dot print response. No. And then this input would be like the human input that I have here. What's the latest news for Hacker News would be like news on how on the AI bubble. Okay, I'll ask that. Okay, so this is the question that I'm asking. There is a better like loop way of doing it where it's like it sends it to a front end, and the front end is basically, I'll show you what that front end would look like what resource you would use to like quickly make a nice clean front end to talk with to test this out. But I had some trouble setting that up. So for the right now, we'll just do this. I'm just giving it this input as if the user is sending this input. Oh, but okay. Excuse me, it's really early here. I'm in San Francisco, so it's like really early over here. Okay, now it's like thinking and doing all this stuff, really like I gave it the message. Their command line interface is still pretty cool. And as it's thinking, I'll go over to the Agno website and we'll go over some of the other tools. So I guess the other cool, I mean, everyone kind of likes, for some reason, everyone likes the like stock tools. I think they have, where's the tools list? Oh, toolkit, yeah, toolkit. Under toolkit, we'll do data, and then there's, ooh, okay, no, we don't care about this. Oh, they have Zep, that's cool. File generation, web scraping. I want, trying to find the Yahoo tool. Where is it?
So these one are like you don't need a token or something.
No, some of them you do, some of them you don't. It depends on the tool. It's tool
How
specific.
do you do that? Like how do you do this token stuff? Do you mind showing that also?
Yeah, sure, sure. The token stuff is fairly simple. It's well, there's difference between a token and the API keys. So when I say for you to use it individually, you would use an API key. And to do that, let's say I think one that uses them is, what was it? What's one that uses a token? I think there's probably one of the search ones. I think it wasn't Hacker News. SERP does Brave. Maybe it was Baidu or DuckDuckGo.
I think Tavily uses tokens, but I'm not sure. I haven't
Yeah,
tried
yeah, Tavily,
public
you're right.
tools
Tavily
much.
uses it. Yeah, actually, right here, this is it. That's perfect. Good example. Yeah. So Tavily is another search tool.
Mm-hmm.
And so here you can see we install the library and then
Yeah.
we export this tool. So like you're like, okay, well, this exporting thing, you can do this. But a better way,
So who's going to provide the key? Like
you go to Tavily and you make it in your account. So if I go to
okay,
my
here you go.
every
Okay.
account, I'll go log in, connect with one of these again. Every time you do this, this is like, oh, authentication. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, Let me stop sharing. What was it again? Let me bring back the sharing. I mean, it's not like you guys could have seen it either way, but just security. The next level of security is muting myself. Yeah, so now this is the same thing again. It says it's going to have access to this. They don't give me an option, just like ChatGPT, and what things I have access to. And then here you can see this key. This is the dev key here. Now this is very platform specific. Whatever tool you integrate with, you got to make an account. Your keys might need to be paid for there. And then you would go to usually the developer section. Since this company is made for developers, they already have it here. So I would just copy this, and I would. You also noted there's like an MCP link, which is just like a way for your thing to call their APIs to then get the connection. Yeah, it's only difference is like one, you're using like kind of just your API key with a request. Another is like it creates another MCP link. To me, these are very much similar. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why people do this, because like it's sufficient just to have the API key with like a query. The only difference between an MCP link and an API link is that like the API is specific to like a request, but you could have easily just used this to make the request. But whatever, I'll copy this, and then yeah, I can export it. It doesn't even matter if you guys see this because this is a free account. There's no money on this account. I don't think I set up billing. Yeah, I don't set up billing, so there's free credits over here. So let's all view it and go to terminal. And then oh, actually it answered my question. So it did this. So I got a bunch of information, and it used my tool to find, so I used the hacker rank tool to find this information. So it's an executive summary, conversation about AI bubble continues to split observers into two camps, a belief that exuberant valuations, I'm bad at reading, I just want to text to speech this. But yeah, I feel like our attention spans are getting so bad now with AI. Or maybe that is, or just the morning. Yeah, but we can see like it got some information using that tool. Isabel bursting, VCs, all this stuff. So it did that for me. That is cool. There's also, I think, a better way to see is like the one question you may have is like, how do you know it actually used your tool? So for that, I would do this show. That's a message. Stream events. Was it stream events or yeah, I think it was stream events. Debug mode, my bad. Yeah, debug mode. So I would turn on debug mode just so we can see. Also stream events. Set this to true. Well, I could just do stream here. That's true. Oh, stream intermediate steps. That's how you do it. And and then right now I'll actually change it to Tably. So I think from agno.tools. Tools. Okay. Now I'm gonna also add Tably. Yeah. And now I'm gonna export based off of the docs over here. We see we have to export the API key. So export Tably API key. Oh, copy. Oh, you saw my parent key. I gotta remove that now. It's okay. I have $10 on my OpenAI account. So export Tably API key. There. Now this is the exporting. I'm gonna check, did it export? It did. Now gotta save. Something's off. What's off? This is the commas. Okay, now I'm giving access to two tools. I want to see what tools it uses. It might use both. You can give it instructions on how to use the tools too. And so usually people in the prompts would define how to go about using the tools, in what situations, what tools to use. So I gotta install Tablet too. You also have to install the library. Oh. I have like insane OCD whenever I'm like typing in terminal. Okay, now Python main. Now it's running, and now we can see it actually will tell us what it's doing. Like it's saying, okay, it is sending this as instructions. You can see it's making this tool call here. So it actually ran and called this web search using Tavily tool. That's the cool thing I like about this, because it actually gives you like the tool call chain. Whereas opposed to like other things, you would need to use like an observability tool. There are a lot of observability tools out there. You can even pair this with an observability tool that help you trace your tool calls and to see what happened in that event loop. But we can see, hey, Tavily did this tool call, it got this information. That's cool. Let's see, did it use Yahoo? No, it didn't use Yahoo. It just used Tavily to get this answer. So that was cool. Like I saw, oh, it only used one tool call, didn't use multiple tool calls. It has like different metrics and input and output tokens. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this was kind of the idea, and it did the thing. It used a tool call. Another thing that and yeah, I gave links to. This is pretty cool. Before I move on, are there any questions on the tool calling and like Agno, or did I jump the gun into thinking like, you know, I kind of want to know what's the read of the room right now before I move on.
I think regarding MCPs, I personally don't use MCPs, but the good thing about MCPs is like Agno is built to consume those tools separately, even without MCP. But when it comes to other frameworks, or if you're not using frameworks, I don't use any frameworks. So I've seen is that there's a lot of stitching to be done to actually consume the right content, while MCPs try to standardize them. And it's more like, your application is a client and you have an MCP server. And whenever your MCP servers advertise the available tools, your agent gets to use them by just making a call to the server and knowing if it's available or not. And it's standardized. The response is standardized. So it's more like a protocol. And while in this case, Agno, they have the Stavely tools to actually consume the right key and values from the API response. That could be the reason why MCPs still survive. I think they had 3 limelights. I've seen, like there was one in November 2024 and another in December and then in June. So probably there is something really good about it. I don't use it because I don't use public tools. It's all internal APIs that I use so I have to anyways test them.
Yeah, no, that makes, I mean, to me, MCP, all it is routing. It's just like having a prompt that routes to a function. And I don't see what else other than that it's doing. But you're right. And the thing is, like, Agno does also support MCPs too. You can, I think it's, yeah, it enables your agents to interact with external systems through standard facing
MC
interface. So you can create an MCP interface for your, I think for your agent.
yeah, So, but again, there's a lot of questions regarding security surrounding MCPs,
Yeah, I don't
and a lot
like
of
that.
people talk about.
I agree with you. I think that the MCP space is good for read operations of content that's public, or maybe like if you can add authorization to some of the MCP, like you know, with this request, also here's my credentials, like that would be cool. Nazar or Nazar.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the for a common person like me,
yeah.
this Chat GPT, Agno, Tavily, and Gemini, these all the platform which any one of you think I can use.
No, for somebody like you, I would mostly stick with ChatGPT. Because I'll kind of go over them again. I'll stick with ChatGPT, and then I would also go with Gemini. Uh, Gemini is from Google, so if you like Google, you can use them. Um, and then yeah, so there's Gemini, there's what else? And then there's also Claude.
What is that?
Claude is like they're not they're mostly they're like a different company. They're from Anthropic. Um, help improve Claude. No, I don't want to help you by giving me my data. Okay. Yeah, so this is Claude too. So they're all the same interface. So yeah, basically these three tools, you could play around with them, see which one you like more, because this is a very like
Okay.
subjective.
Okay. So the Agno and Tavily, they are different things.
They're more for developers. Yeah, they're if you want to code, if you want to like make your own service. Like if I want to make my own company,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
for a person who is a simple person like me, who is for us Gemini or Chat GPT, this is the two we can explore.
yes, ChatGPT or Gemini, like or Gemini or Claude Code or Claude AI.
Yeah,
What is
by
that?
by any time, if you have an Indian Airtel connection, you could also get Perplexity for free. Perplexity Pro. They use multiple models. They are neither Chat OpenAI nor Anthropic. They use all the models out there. They probably have a model themselves, I guess.
Yeah, so there's perplexity too. In my opinion, it's purely subjective.
Perplexity. This is another one.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
another one you could use.
there's a lot
Uh,
of them actually, honestly.
yeah,
But
you can use all of them.
start with
And then,
ChatGPT, right?
yeah, uh, the easiest one is just ChatGPT.
Okay.
But I
Thank
mean,
you.
they're all very similarly easy, but I
Okay.
just
Thank
say
you.
that,
I
yeah.
think for it's enough. Otherwise, yeah, we'll lose time for others. Okay. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. But yeah, that's a good question. Okay. So we saw the tool calling, we saw Agno. Next thing is like, okay, there's also the notion of memory and knowledge. So just how like we saw company knowledge in the uh, in uh, in like the ChatGPT, we can also add knowledge and memory. So these are a little bit different. So I'll go over knowledge. Knowledge is kind of like this is some document that your agent always has access to, and it always can look at it to get information. Um, so it's like core business concepts, terminology, stuff like that. It's still using search on this knowledge, just like RAG. So like it's still using that type of embedding, chunking search technique on this to help it understand stuff. Then there's also memory. So memory is more like it creates new things. So memory is like, let's say I'm having a conversation and I tell it my favorite color is red. This is not in my knowledge base, but this is new information that's specific to me and my conversation. And that's what memory is. Memory is like the ability to put in context new information that is relevant to my conversation. Yeah. So, and it's very easy to enable memory. You can just say enable user memories is true, and it will do it. And then yes, so we'll kind of go over that. Where is it? The one thing is work, best practices. Yeah, hopefully I can make this work. Their human in loop thing is not that good right now because they don't have it like in a loop-like fashion, so I don't like it at all. But yeah, we'll go over these two. So I'm gonna go over, let's say, knowledge base first. So I'm gonna go to the cursor. And then here, it's probably easy if I just keep using this one. I'm gonna go up here, and then these were just like the UI frameworks. So I'm gonna say, what did I use here? There's many databases. Yeah, I'll do this one. Oh. Okay, so let's do knowledge, and then I'm gonna add let's see, how did I do it? That knowledge. I have to make an instance of that. Yeah, vector DB and contents DB. Ooh. Okay. I'll just give it. I think what I used was knowledge, vector DB, Lance DB. Yeah, if you don't know, Lance DB is just like a simple like vector database that is very easy to use. You can give it a table name and all that stuff. So I need a vector DB. Yeah. And then so look for the other one. Yeah, that should be good. So I just say like give me like 10 results from this knowledge base whenever I get results from it. Now the question is, okay, what is in this knowledge base? There's nothing in it. So this is kind of where we'd have to add content. It's been a while since I used this library, so let's see if I remember. It's not fresh in my context. Yeah, they have this method here, although it's not the best. Yeah, for anyone actually like looking at the way I'm coding, this is it's horrendous. So this is initializing it. Next, I'm going to. Oh, my battery is low. That's fine. If I have to plug in, I'll be right back. And then yes, I don't like this async one. We'll just say add content. Yeah, it's simpler. We're gonna add this knowledge base, this content to our knowledge base. I'm gonna give it a name. And if it exists already, I'm just gonna replace it. That's what upsert means. Okay, let's see first if this works. I just want to see if this compiles. They give me an error somewhere. Oh, Tavily key. I don't care about you, Tavily. Okay, then I don't need insert. Ooh, okay. Did they change it? I hope not. Oh, base DB. Okay.
This is why I stopped using, any framework. It's just so
Uh,
many.
yeah, no, it's kind of annoying, but it makes your life a whole like it's good once you have a good abstraction. Um, like if you have a good abstraction, then it
I, I,
becomes mm,
I started with LangChain, and a demo was good. Beyond that, a LangChain kept updating. That was like the people complained about. There was an article that said LangChain is a garbage software. Literally, that was the title, and it was making sense. They kept updating things. Anyone could just raise a PR, and they would accept all those modules. So it was all around. So I
mhm.
stopped using LangChain. Then I moved on to there was another one from Microsoft called Guidance, Semantic Kernel, Autogen, and there was another one
AutoGen had
called
some difficulties because there was this huge fight between Microsoft
yeah,
and the original creators of AutoGen, and that's why I didn't use them. I would want to have used them, but they were just fighting too much, and that just made the whole ecosystem.
yeah. There was two Autogens then. You remember? So then there was another one from it was called Haystack. Someone from Hugging Face just recommended Haystack. They said it's going to save your life, and I tried using it. It was really clean code, but honestly, still abstractions. So
Yeah,
we put a lot of frameworks to test, and we were like, let's not use it in frameworks. We'll just use chat completion APIs.
yeah. For me, chat completion API is like a nightmare because I have so much. How do I explain it? I have so many things like tools I have to call or like places where I have to call stuff
Mhm.
and chaining these tool calls or like chaining these chat completions is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to chain chat completion after chat completion. It becomes not that easy or trivial.
Mhm.
The knowledge
That
base,
makes
like,
sense.
yeah, what's this? Not this is a fake knowledge base. Okay. Oh, actually, it's funny. I think this was already in my knowledge base before. Let's give it a trading. Actually, I'll make two ones. So actually, I made one knowledge base for trending news topics, and then I made another one for just trading. I just copied like some book on trading. I don't know how this is gonna work, but we'll run this one. And so, okay, so what I did was here. So I add these parameters, knowledge DB, da da da. And now it should have access to my knowledge base. Good. And since we put it on debug mode, we'll be able to see how it works. I may be putting way too many things in here, but don't worry about that. Some of them may not be necessary. So let's do Python main. Oh, did I enable the? Yeah, I did. Let's see if it does the tool call. So agent, what is it doing? So what it did was it gave this content. Oh yeah, so it got the content from my knowledge base. So we can see it got a chunk. A chunk is just a snippet of information. So it used the knowledge base. And now so this is like a reference of things that it can add. So this is how it uses the knowledge base. You'll notice that a lot of places, also why I like just experimenting with tools is because you'll see how they do their or context engineering. The context engineering is just how you manage inserting into the prompt things. And so here it now generates an output. And then it generated the output, and then it reached an end state, and it gave me what it is that I wanted. Yeah. It looks a lot similar to how it looked before. Yeah, it looks very similar. I think the only difference is this short term or a long term outlook, or maybe I was using it before already. Let me use now the other agent. So let me just make a duplicate of this, call it trading agent. And then I think for this one, for tools, I'm gonna use Yahoo Finance. Yeah, everyone's favorite tool. And then also I'll use, okay, in this case, I'll use Tavily because I need some like live search information. And yes, in this case, I'll call the new table name, like you can store many things in the same table, like many knowledge or documents. What really that table is just where it stores its chunks of text that it's going to search across. But in this case, I want to make a new table name, call it trading knowledge base or trading knowledge base, and call this knowledge. You can name the knowledge something else, a trading book or something. Trading stocks, commodities. Actually, I don't know what this document's about, so let me ask, how would you summarize what this document is about? So if anyone, you're looking on my left side of the screen, I have something called cursor. It does all the tab completions like that are happening that I don't really type, it's doing it. So if it knows I need to add a library, it'll do it for me. Careful, if you use it too much, you stop knowing how to code. This is like the brain drain phenomena. Like if you be dependent on a tool, you end up regressing and be getting worse at the thing that you thought you wanted to do, or the thing that you want to do. It's like kind of using a mechanic. Well, actually, using a mechanic, you kind of learn some things because you don't know anything coming in. So yeah, this is markets, trading concepts, and all that stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna just give this to my trading agent. I'll just be like, okay, I'm cheating so much right now, but that's okay. Okay, knowing this context from above, update the specifics in this file for my agent to be trading a trading agent. And now I'm just gonna let it. Oh, I put it in ask mode. I put it in agent mode. Again, like I'm using cursor. Cursor itself is using its own tools. And Cursor in the back end, the actual model that Cursor uses is mostly Claude. But now they made their own actually called Composer, but which is cheaper than Claude, and they're kind of, again, I don't pay for this, my company pays for this, but there is a limit to the usage based off of a credit system. I hate this credit system. Eventually, we'll all be able to run models at home and we won't need these credit systems, but economies are not at scale really. It's just too expensive right now. Okay, so then it did some things. Okay, I'll just be like, apply the changes. It's gonna apply the changes to my file here. And the good thing is if it messes up, you can always just like revert back. And so here now it's applying the changes. Okay, so let's see the changes that it made. Okay, this, nothing really. Knowledge, path. Yeah, that's the right path. And we'll see here. Yeah, this is okay description. And then yeah, I use the tools that I want and I gave it instructions. Yeah, so here I added instructions before I didn't. This is to give more guidance on how you want the agent to behave. And Okay, let's see now. I said analyzed. What's a stock I really like? Oh, I really like Brookfield. BN stock. It's a Canadian company. Also, if you didn't know, Mark Carney was on the board of Brookfield Asset Management Group. So interesting company. Let's call this. Yes. Now let me. I think it was. Export this key. Okay. Wait, why is it? Shit. How do I? Damn it, I can't. Why can't I see people? Oh my God, I hate Zoom so much. I hate Zoom so much.
Your PC is almost dead.
Is it?
Yeah.
Almost 5%. I have time.
I'm on the other side of the spectrum where I always keep it pulling.
How do I see the participants? Oh wait, view. Gallery? View. What? Why is it like this? Sorry guys.
We're not seeing your Zoom. It shows me your desktop.
Yeah, I know, but I could see you guys in Zoom, but I can't put you guys in like the small. Oh wait, yeah, why can't I? My screen? I can see my screen, but I want you guys to. I want to see show participants. Close participants? No. Okay, let me stop sharing real quick. Let me start sharing again. Okay, now I see you guys the way I should. Okay, I'm gonna export this key. Now I'm gonna run it. What was it called again? Trading agent. Yeah. Oh. Okay, yeah. If you don't know what UV is, it's just like a package manager for Python. It uses Rust to install. It's just so much better. It's much faster to install things too. Yeah, like that was it. I installed it. Like it doesn't wait as long as Python. Um, okay. Let's do Python trading agent. Hope this works. I hope this works. Okay, it's reading it. It's adding it to its knowledge base. It's gonna take a long time. Oh, okay, got some snippets. It got some snippets. It got some stuff from the knowledge base. Usually, like you could give it a lot more depending on your context, but like I like to think of it like context is like a good tool. Like it's a good thing to use if you want to like it's like managing a budget. Like you don't want to use too much. It's also like if you have too much noise that in your context, then that's bad. But as you have too big context, then that's also not good. Okay, now it gave me some response. Oh fuck, it gave me it said a follow-up. And since I can't add follow-ups, I will just answer this in one because I don't have the human loop thing working right now. But I will just create a prompt that's very specific. So good thing is we know it's answering those things. Can you update the prompt? It asked me for the input in my test. It asked me a bunch of questions. Tell it no questions. And yes, The ticker is bn.to. This is, if I go to Safari, I'm gonna just double check bn.to. Oh, no. Brookfield. It's their ticker. They're a Canadian company, Brookfield, ticker. They're called BN on both. They're in Toronto too. This BN, the company is Brookfield. Copy this. Okay, now I'm just gonna try to ask it a better question. I am too lazy to even look at this. Do not ask clarifying questions. Probably shouldn't do that, but this is for demo purposes. Run it again. Yeah, now it was a lot faster because it already put into its knowledge base that it had that content, and it knows that there's no change in the content. And so, oh wow, Yahoo Finance is getting a lot of data. That's cool. So we're getting some like stock information. Funny, my last company I worked at, they're actually in Toronto right now. There was like making a chatbot for stock analysis. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Provide a direct analysis without asking questions. Sometimes, like, if you really want the answer, you gotta act mean. It's a technique of prompting. Let's see what it does. It's still thinking. This is insane. I wonder if I only put $10 of spend on my OpenAI account. Let's hope that's enough. Okay, it did something. Okay. Cool. Okay, it's cool that I got the real price information, so we could see it got like $44.05. It says, oh, after a strong multi-month rally from the low 30s to the high 40s, it pulled back down. Okay. And so take notes, like it's using the knowledge base to kind of help it understand how to go about answering this question. Now, it's how is it using knowledge base? It kind of uses your question and then searches for similar like things in that knowledge base. It's not the best thing. Like usually the technique you would want to use is rephrasing your query or your question. In their case, the input is the query or the question into a way that is searchable. And to get better than RAG is usually like you'd make the results really large, like you'd get so much matches, and then you would use something called a re-ranker. So what is, oh wow, Yahoo has a lot of ads. Re-ranker models. Let's go here. Let's use this. So this is a way of boosting search. So if you guys don't know, like rag search are pretty bad sometimes, and then so you'd have to use a re-ranker. What is a re-ranker? A re-ranker just sorts your answers based off what's the most relevant for your question. So like rag, all it does is figure out what's semantically similar, but it may not be relevant to answering your question. So that's what re-rankers do. Re-rankers are just small language models that just ask a question and give an answer and give an output of a probability between 0 and 1 that show you whether or not, is this thing that I got back from my search actually relevant to answering my question? Or how relevant is it on a scale of like 0 to like 1, like 100% or like 0%? And then it sorts your results based off that. Now, usually that's why you do RAG first with like a very big net, and then you use a re-ranker to narrow the net of like, okay, now give me the most plausible search snippets to use. Okay, let's see what it is. So it got some answers. Okay, it's cool. It did something. RSI, overbought, oversold. Okay, that's good. 50-day, watch the 50-day moving average. I mean, this is all cool, but like I don't know if any of it is right or not. I'm a value investor, so I don't really know. Yeah, I'm less of a technical investor. So, but it's good to see what the technical side is thinking. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I guess before I continue, is there any questions on this? Nope. Okay, awesome. And I think, what should I do next? So there's this, there's that. We're at 9:04. So we have like, I think 30 more minutes left. I'll go over memory briefly, because I don't have like the continuation. I guess I could do the continuation too. Yeah, I could simulate it. Yes. Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna simulate the history thing, by continuing the conversation and then just adding history now. So like here I got some instructions. Usually what I like to do is like just put these instructions in like a markdown file. But for now, it's because I hate the way they tabulate. Uh, Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna add the memory. So we got knowledge, that's like a database. Now let's add memory. We have to add a memory manager. This is just to use the embedding. I think it's, yeah, it's just to use the, no, it doesn't need that actually. What the heck? Memory manager, add it here. Manager. And then what did I put in the knowledge base? Whose memory was, oh, I did use that. Yeah, same thing. Uh, DB. Okay, got the memory manager, got memory. I think that's it. Yeah, that's basically it. Context. Yeah, you could also add knowledge to context, which means that's just gonna add it to like the system prompt. I don't want to do that because our knowledge was like massive, and so you don't want to spend like 10 like a dollar every time you make a request if your knowledge base is huge and you're using the maximum number of like tokens and you're gonna run out of space. Let's see if this works. Okay.
I think his computer's out of charge.
I knew it was gonna happen. Okay, let's go to terminal. Okay, let's see back here. Okay, adding memory. Okay. Added this to here. And then that's interesting. Why does it drop down here? Okay, now let's see if this works. So I'll just say like my name is my name is John Doe. And I'm gonna enter a message after that. See if this works. Oh, I'm not. This is a trading agent. Trading agent. Just gonna run it. I told it its name. So it analyzes stock. And the next question I'm gonna ask is like, what is my name? To see does it remember who I am. Now it may be cheating and just using the context or the history, but we will see. Yeah, and also it's cool that you can see all the tools that it adds as the agent gets built. And now it exists added an agent memories table, it has a knowledge table. Take a long time. But yeah, outside of that, let's see, is there anything else on Agno that is worth discussing? Their knowledge. Oh, So another cool thing is on Agno, and also other agent services, is they have a notion called teams. Teams just means you have many agents doing things. So you can imagine if I'm trying to build, I don't know, an organization, I can have, or like let's say a hedge fund. I could say, okay, like who are all the people in a hedge fund, or the people that, like, do decisions or actions, and they do such types of stuff. I can make a team of different agents, or you can imagine them as like employees, to go out and facilitate a task for me. And the cool thing is that, like, you can also have teams that have other teams under them, and you can, like, in the role, you can say, who can you coordinate with, who are the other members that you can talk to. So you can have members that can talk to agents that can talk to other agents, and agents that can only talk to specific agents. So it's just like making an organization, and so you can delegate tasks to different people in your organization. This is a really cool idea because agents are not good at unbounded amounts of tasks. So if you give it like the optionality to do many different things, it will lose sight of which route to take if it has so many options of routes to take. But if you delegate these tasks to sub agents or smaller agents, it actually helps them narrow down, like, okay, I only have to focus on looking at the fundamentals. I only have to focus on looking at the technicals. Somebody else has to look at focusing on the macro factors. Then you get much more high or a richer amount of insight into each specific task. Yeah, so that's teams. The same thing that, like, agents can have, teams can also have. They can also have memory, knowledge, and access, like, and shared state is like things that can be shared between the agents. Yeah, there's guardrails. So guardrails is like, how can you stop a malicious person from, like, injecting or like prompt hacking your tool to do stuff? These aren't the best, but they're just basically prompts, and, like, or here in this case, it's like a pre-hook PII guardrail. The PII guardrail is just like a prompt that happens before this happens. So before this, this team is in charge of, like, just guardrails. Like, it just they're just creating another um, like kind of task for the agent to do. So it, like, runs a function that checks whether or not there's anything malicious about the prompt, or in this case, it's PII, which is personal identifiable information. So if, like, for our cases, for my case, I can't expose, like, I don't know, IDs from a database or like things like that. You should really, like, that's probably more of a context engineering related problem, but uh, you would also, like, maybe use guardrails to help you protect or redact certain information from the output. Um, yeah, everyone has like a guardrail guideline. There's no perfect set of guardrails, uh, but yes. And then for
So honestly, something that I've seen is never use guardrails in prompt. It doesn't help because it's prompt after all. So the better way is to use a separate, like for example, if it's PII, there are other ways to actually mask PII.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
there's one
there's
from Microsoft called Presidio.
yeah. So
You
Microsoft
can
has
anonymize.
a PI redactor. There's many PI redactors out there. They're very easy to use. Um, it gets a bit tricky when you want to expose some PII that's privy to the person that's asking for it, but not privy, but like some of it's not. So, like, how do you separate different types of personally identifiable information? Where it's like, let's say we work with advisors, so we'd want to show the advisors things that they can see, but not things that other people, not things that, like, um, that we have in our side of our like internal stuff. So there's many ways to look at it. You're right. The guardrails is a continuing, like, it's a work in progress. Like, it's still research being done on how to best do it. Although I think, like, the best thing is to be like, If you're just getting information on behalf of a user, then it's not really as much risk to you because you're only limiting the access towards what they already have access to. But by default, like our company, we don't store like really any information. So that yeah, the best like it's kind of like privacy first. Like AWS's approach is, I think, the best way to go. Yeah, for metrics, I don't know what metrics are, but let's say you want to have like observability. There's tools like LangFuse, which are pretty simple tools to use that are like open source out of the box. This helps give you tracing in your chat. So like if I have a chat, I want to add observability to it or metrics or whatnot, I can use this tool to see kind of that trace of how it went. And if I can also quickly, I'll have to sign up. No, wait, is it free? Okay, yeah. Organization, da da da, my org. No, I don't want to invite team members. My LM project. And here I'll get some credentials too. So let's go into API keys. Okay, there's some API keys here. Yeah, connections. Oh, you can also add this to your LLMs too. So this is actually pretty cool because like if you're using things like chat completions and stuff, you can also just add the LLM connection itself to see to like get observability metrics from that chat completion side. So even if you're not using a framework, you can also use these observability tools. There is, I think it was LangFuse with Agno. And so all I have to do is this. Where is it? So open lit and get client. So verify connection and then get the client. So I can quickly go into cursor. Actually, let's see if this thing is done. Oh, so it did finish. I say, what is my name? Managing user memories. Your name is John Doe. Okay, good. So now it actually created a memory in the background. And then it created a memory of who my name is. And then now you know that, okay, it can create memories on the fly about certain things that are important. The difference between memory and history is what was said before. Memory is key data points or key information that is that is not like the entire like 10 previous like things that were said. Yeah, so there's a difference between history and memory. Memory could like be something that was said a longer time ago, more than the history that like you can manage in context. The history actually gets added to the context. So okay, we know memories work. It's cool. And now we can also add the observability, which is like I think the last thing we'll talk about today. Yeah, I think like with these concepts, you should be able to like talk about agents and like to anyone and they'll be like, okay, you know what, you know what agents are about, like you know the tools out there. Although the industry really cares about LangGraph or LangChain, like they don't know why. If you ask these recruiters like why, they're like, I don't know, it's just on the CV, like it's just there. You just need to know it, like it's just there. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like, you realize like much like you, Labib, I did make my own agentic framework before my last company. It was the same stuff. And I was like, why are you like I basically did what they did. Um, but because back then it was not good or sufficient enough, like you would not ever use that. And you are right to say that it was incomplete before. Um,
It was not even compatible. Like if you upgrade your library, there's a
yes.
lot of things breaking a chain. So
Just now they
honestly,
also upgraded to the responses. Yeah, keep going.
honestly, I wouldn't suggest going for frameworks, but I see the push for LangGraph, but I also don't really understand why. If you know the concepts, it's more than enough because LangGraph is an extremely easy tool to use. The people talk about n8n or LangGraph. These are like graphical representations of how probably your LLM. I mean, LLM agent should work. Uh, OpenAI has one of their own agent kit, I guess. These are graphical representation, so you can actually draw edges from one node to the other and describe what it does, and it would do what you want it to do. And I don't know why it's very difficult, or why is it a skill at all? Honest opinion. So
It's more of a skill because it's just about adoption, and like the industry has no idea of what standards are. People like creating standards. Let's just say that. Like there's this notion of standards, because the more you standardize, the more you can talk about knowledge in a way that's digestible. And so if I
Mhm.
say tool, what does that mean? If I say knowledge, what does that mean? If I say memory, what does that mean? These abstractions are things used by frameworks that now are perverse everywhere. So it's
Mm.
like uh, that's I think to me the only frameworks are a bridge to not like normalizing or just like having common standards, uh and then sharing those standards. That's all it is to me, but you're right, you don't really need to do that. Although I will say some of like the scaffolding, it gets easier with frameworks because you don't have to create the abstraction. Then there's also maintenance, like as if you work at a
Yeah, I'm just talking about the production version of your agent prototyping, doing whatever it makes sense. Just you need to primarily see if it works, then work behind. Work backwards to actually get it done production ready.
yeah,
Use
yeah,
minimal, frameworks.
the
Honest opinion, this is what I've seen in my organization as well. Like for example, some agents have React, loops where uh, some of the APIs don't really need React loops. They don't need to observe either. They just need to route. For example, in which case I don't want to waste another API call, just OpenAI call specifically. I use Azure OpenAI on PTUs, and
yeah,
these are extremely costly. Secondly, these are going at scale, as in we are probably a lot of customers are going to chat with this thing, and uh, more like it's a semi process flow than a tool call. And I don't want the LLM to be seeing the response from probably a status message saying, oh, status 200, I'm working on it, or anything. Just need
yeah,
to facilitate the process, in which
yeah.
case I don't want the LLM to see it. Sorry, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think going back to that, one of the more important things other than Asian frameworks, we're not going to get to it today, but it's evals. So like the next question is how do you make evals, which is the one of the most important things. If you know how to do evals, you know like all this stuff doesn't really matter because you kind of answer the question of when is it good enough? How do I make sure things are good enough? This is just how do I make something, but I don't know if it's good enough. And that's the next stage of it. Let me quickly check
Have
here.
you gone through contents from Hamid Hussain and Shreya Shankar?
No, I have not.
They have a course on Maven that talks about evals, and they've been trying to push an idea that you do not want LLMs to judge in such a way that, oh, it's going to give you a score between 1 and 5, that at some point you'll be doubting, oh, what's the difference between 3 and 4 if the LLM really chose 3 or 4, right? So they're
Yeah.
like, go for pass or fail. That's very plain.
Yeah, I
I haven't,
agree.
I haven't gone through the course though. I haven't done the course. They published a few documents. I have them. I read through it, and uh, yeah, prompt there's something that I fight against. But
Yeah, this is like I like this tool. It's simple, it's easy. Um, they have like a cool open source like you know, I like it's like this pass fail type thing.
Mhm.
You run it on like here, like I don't know why I gave 80%. Oh, it's like 8 out of 10 cases. So like it runs this scenario with many different like situations. So it'll run it many times and see how many times did it pass, how many times did it fail. It give you like a report about this. But the difficult part is like sometimes it's hard to describe why something is good or bad. And if you knew why, then you would have put it in the prompt or something of that nature. And so that's one thing. Or like your prompt may be too big to be able to like properly do the thing you want to do. And so, yeah, evals are pretty cool. I don't think there's a nice way to do it now. Um, they also have evals for like guardrails and stuff, like how susceptible is your thing for, uh, like hacking and stuff. So these guys actually pivoted more towards the security side. Like they're trying to,
That's where I these days work on, like breaking whatever we build before the users break them.
yeah. So
So that's the fun
these
part.
these guys have like a lot of that, like that's actually one of their core businesses is to make sure you have not vulnerable products, and that's so they made this open source eval tool, but they really got industry work from their Red Hat teaming or red teaming type of like uh,
Oh,
use
red teaming, yeah.
yeah, red teaming use
This,
cases.
this is what I do these days, where I use a tool called Garrett from NVIDIA.
Hmm.
It literally shatters whatever concepts you have about your agent, that it breaks things
What's
and
it
it
called? What's the
makes
tool
your
called?
Garak,
How do you spell it?
Garak from NVIDIA.
What does it do?
It's basically a teaming tool and then vulnerability
Oh, that's
scan.
cool.
So
That is cool.
it's
I will
extremely
say
funny
this.
to see some responses, especially like, oh, you have enterprise guardrails from Microsoft with Azure. Despite that, I see OpenAI saying really bad stuff, and I have to fix a lot of things. So I recommend fix this and come back. So, it's a fun
Yeah,
job.
yeah. I'm lucky enough that like we have such tight controls on the data going in and out that
Even then,
yeah.
it's gonna fail. I can be honest.
Huh? Yeah,
We
I mean,
sort of
but
we've built something called API gateways where you don't even let your LLM see anything beyond what it needs. So the concept of something like GraphQL, where you only ask for what you need and you get what you ask for. That's it. So zero trust policy. Despite that, I've seen it repeating certain things that are malicious. Like for example, there's something called DAN. Prompt injection is like quite common. So
yeah.
we try to break them with, we were looking for guardrailing tools just to handle these things.
Mm. It, it,
Give it
it,
a try.
I
It's a
will
nice
give it a
thing.
try. I'm definitely gonna try it out because, well, like our context is very much control because the user doesn't actually get to decide what the prompt is. It's kind of like they would have to. It's not simple because they would have to literally orally like speak it or like have some type
Oh.
of like if I could imagine like for our system we have like audio file upload, so they have to like create a speech to a text to speech, upload that
Mhm.
speech, and that speech would be like the prompt injection, and then that way they could probably like check if it works. But all we're
If
doing
it's chat, you don't have anything in chat.
we do we do have something in chat, but even then like it's like the only stuff they have access to is their own information is because it's limited by the scope of their account.
Yeah, but how it happens is, so technically the recommendation is always solidify your system prompt that no one else can actually edit it off. But things or probably make it a bit more stricter in handling user queries. But what happens during prompt injection is basically users try patterns to override system prompts, and sometimes it works. That's where, though you are sending everything of your user returns as part of user key in your messages, what happens is sometimes it gets overridden. Sometimes they encrypt the. This is basically attackers. We're not talking about normal users. We're talking about attackers. Encrypt your they encrypt whatever they want your system to tell them back, and they take screenshots, they spread it. There's a lot of risk associated with the outputs of such you know uh, malignancy, sort of
Yeah, no, that
reputational risk, honestly.
yeah, I think yeah, but going back to like for us it's like the data that we get is based off your user account, and it's not like the data is never the data is only extracted from the user account without the prompt being. So it's like we use your user's authentication as a way to get the data, not the prompt. And then once we have the data, the prompt is used in conjunction with that. But that data itself is limited towards just what's in your own account. So if you have access to read it already, then it's okay. But so if you were trying to prompt inject us, it would be like, well, because our scope of task is very limited. It's not like there's other stuff that we have, like the Ask Me Anything question, like we can ask a chat like interface to, and we're doing a bunch of other stuff like browser agents and stuff. For that, there's going to be more guardrails put in place for different ways, but it's still going to go back to the using the authentication of the credentials and then getting the information from there first and then sending it to a different service. The summary, like we have like a like an AI service that is responsible just for chat completions and stuff. But you are right that like prompt injections are still very much a thing, and it's no one has like a bulletproof solution for it. So it is a very big problem, and people would pay a lot for it. Let me
Exactly.
export these. I'm gonna quickly wait. Gotta export this one. I don't know how to do this. Export that. Export this. The reason I like observability tools is because then you can trace what happened in a conversation and then use that as actual training data. What's this? Bad assignment? What's the bad assignment? Oh, set, not export. Actually, no, that should work.
There are attacks like someone called grandma.slurs, and they basically say my grandma was a good soul. She used to, their utterances like she used to call me bad names, but I miss her, so stop speaking bad stuff.
Yeah, no, there's many, like if you change the word, like I had an experiment the other day, if you change the word from human, like, oh, there's this person that's to instead animal, there's this animal that's doing this thing,
Mhm.
the morals like change drastically because
Yeah.
the stuff that people can morally do to animals is different than what they can do to humans. So like that is a big uh thing that like happens all the time. It's like, well, that's you could say that, but it's not always like fair, but it's that's kind of just like, well, we have to define morality as like people to figure out what that means, and we're not always good at that.
True, and also like especially when it comes to corporates using generally available LLMs, there's a conflict of interest in the way sycophancy works. Like for example, if you ask OpenAI about competitors of your company, it is so there's this idea of sycophant behavior for LLMs where they would let you know of all the competitors, for instance, but you do not want that to happen in your corporate chatbot, for instance, and that's where a lot of prompting would still be technically confusing its sycophancy in itself, right? There's also another problem where, like, let's say there's this risk of competitors being mentioned to the users, and you would want to sort of fine tune the LLMs, and you choose a narrow domain to fine tune the LLMs, or probably if you're using an SLM, you're trying to fine tune it. There's another trouble that occurs where, let's say something goes wrong in your fine tuning, your LLM is going to behave wrongly in a lot of other domains. So there's a paper called emergent misalignment, where you're trying to align in a very conflicted domain. Your LLM would make a lot of mistakes in not even mistakes, something really terrible. Like for example, this paper specifically discuss about they making it code wrongly. Uh, course with bug, for example, a lot of bugs. The LLM is fine-tuned to write code with bugs, and eventually what happens is it misaligns in a lot of other domains. Like for example, someone asks, "I'm annoyed of my husband. What should I do?" And the LLM is like, "Should I find you a hitman?" Sort of. That's how bad it gets. So there's a lot of risk associated
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, it's also it's good practice to restrict your output. So like I often don't use the chat completion, I use the structured responses. And you could restrict the output
Mhm.
to a set of specific outputs. So say if you know like there's only a certain set of possible outputs that I want to output, you can restrict it to a set of literals, so like enums. So you can make the
Mhm.
output restricted to like a list of enums such
Mhm.
that there's only these options to output for the LLM. It has no other choice but these set of options. So I look at it as like as if you could constrain the search space towards only the things that are safe, then you're good. And so what does that look like? So the classification tasks are pretty safe. If you have a trace in your code that results in a bad output or a bad like chain of events, then they found a trace that's actually like that wasn't properly tested. That's like a programmatic error. Like you created this like interaction that could happen between these things that could result in this output. Okay, so let's see if this worked. Yeah, and it worked. So like, that's it. So I got this chat history here with LangFuse. And we can see the start time, the messages that I send to the output, the latency, the cost. Using a lot of money. uh, the embeddings that it's using. So that's pretty cool. And you could also narrow this down if you have passed in a session ID or a user ID, I can narrow it down by that as well too. And this tool does let you do that too. This is actually the number one reason I like these frameworks is because they manage session state for you. I hate that. That was my biggest pet peeve. So here it's like I could give it a session, or like here I can give it a session. Is it here? Session. Yeah, session ID and a user ID. So session ID is like for each session, users for each user. So that this would get saved in a database so that you can retrieve it from the cache. And then give it back to the front end so the front end knows to give back the same session to continue the same conversation. So like this is kind of how you would manage session state. But yeah, I think that's it for today. But are there any other questions? It was a good chat, Labib.
Yeah, we should chat more. I
Yeah,
have to
add me
drop
on
though.
LinkedIn if
I
you want.
definitely, yeah. I
I'll
have to
put,
drop. I have other commitments. It's a Saturday.
huh?
I'm late by half an hour. It's a Saturday. I have some other commitments. I have to take my son for a piano class.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's already on
Do your thing. Do your thing. Piano's probably a better profession right now.
it. Honestly, not.
All
But
right.
helps you grow your brain differently.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, looks like most of the chat is gone. We're good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Nice.
Bye, guys.